Hi. Okay, so I want to talk to you about your language for this week. The language of this week is really not too bad. It's friendly letter. We're going to do 2 weeks of friendly letter, so you don't have to complete it all this week, but I want you to practice every step. So I'll send paper and envelopes and things like that for you to do your friendly letter. The first thing is important is knowing an envelope. Okay, so we have our envelope. Actually, I'm going to put this here. You have your envelope, and it's important to understand that the envelope, you have your return address. This is your address, and you write it real small, and it goes up here in your left-hand corner. So up here in the left-hand corner, it says, this is for Janet West, and she has a P.O. box, which is not like a house number. It's just a box that's at the post office. So she can go and get her mail from the post office and nobody has to come to her house. So the P.O. box, and she lives in Hawaii. And do you see how it's Hilo, comma? So you put a comma in between the city and then the state. And then the state is an abbreviation, HI, and then her zip code. So for you, you live in New Braunfels. So it would be Kiana Alexander, and then underneath it would be your house number and your street name. And then it would be New Braunfels, Texas, comma, or New Braunfels, comma, Texas, and then whatever your zip code is, 78130 or 32 or whatever. So that's what your address would be here. And then the person you're sending your letter to, they get right in the middle of the envelope. So right there in the middle of the envelope. So this person's sending a letter to her friend Karen Forrest, who lives in Ohio. So she has her name, her address with her street number, her street house number and her street. And then she has her city, state, and zip code. So that is how you're going to address an envelope. You're going to practice on the back. First, you need to find out what your address is and write it here. And then you're going to have this boy, John Buck, is writing a letter to his friend, Cindy Potts. So John Buck's address goes here and Cindy Potts' address goes here because she's the one using the letter. And then you're going to save this because it's going to help you when you write your letter. Then the next day, you're going to talk about the parts of a letter. And it's important to know this. We don't always write letters this way anymore, but still knowing how to do a formal letter makes you more marketable. So when you're older and you want to get a job, or when you have to fill out your paperwork for your taxes, or when you become an adult and you want to have a business, you need to know how to do a proper form letter. And so that's what this is. So here you put your own address so that she knows who's sending it. So the person you're sending to. So let's just say you're writing a letter to your friend Mary, who lives in Florida. You're going to write your address here because then she can look at yours and she can use your address right there on her letter that she writes back. So you're going to have your address. Then you're going to have your greeting. And your greeting is some kind of way. So when I write an email to your parents, I'm like, hey, families, or hello, Alexander family, or something. It's a greeting. It's just saying hello, hi. A lot of times when you write a letter, you say, dear grandma. And dear is like a term of endearment. It means that you care about that person. So your greeting is dear whoever. So then she wrote, dear Karen. And then she wrote a letter about about her, whatever her message is. So this one says, your letter came and I told my family about the snowman, because she moved away from wherever she was. And she said, I made this bracelets for you with your friends. I hope you like it. I found the seashells. So that's the body of it. So she wrote this little story and this little letter and telling her friend about herself. And that's what letters usually are. Whether you're writing your letter to your cousin or your aunt or something, you're telling them something important. For me, if I have to write a letter to my boss, for example, here's a good example. I had to write a letter for my boss because I needed to take a few days off because my husband was working. So I wrote my address. I said, dear Andrea, that's my boss's name, Andrea. She works at Starbucks. I need such and such days off because I will be going to be home because my husband has to work and la, 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 la. And so that's the body of my letter. Then she said in this letter, her closing is your friend. My closing was your employee. So however you are meeting those people. If I was to write a letter to you, I'd say your teacher. So you're going to have a closing and then you're going to write your name underneath that closing. Okay, so the signature is your name, the closing. So that's the parts of the letter. Here on the back, you're going to tell me, looking here, body, closing, greeting, heading, signature. You're going to write the letter, and then you're going to tell me, who did Karen write to? Why did Karen write the letter? So you're going to read this part and you're going to answer those questions. Then we're going to talk about the reason for a letter. So in this one, we're going to say, who is getting the letter? Why are you doing something? Why do you write a letter? To thank somebody, to tell them about something, to ask them a question, and then also, who is the audience? So who's the letter to? So in this one, this letter, it is a letter of thanks to Janet from Karen because she got a present. So you're going to answer these questions here on the bottom. And then on the back, you're going to think about something because you're going to be writing a letter. Who would you want to write to? Who's your audience? Could you write to your sister in Houston? Could you write to your cousin? Could you write to your aunts? Could you write to your grandmother? Could you write to your friend? And whoever you want to write to. And you're going to say, this person has been kind to me. I want to write them a letter. Then you're going to tell me why. What do they do? Why do you want to write this letter that makes you thankful? And so then you're going to write that here. And then at the very end, you're going to say why. Why are you thankful for whatever it is that they did? And so that is what you're going to be doing with that. And then you're going to draft your letter. Hold on, Micah. You're going to draft your letter. So you're going to have this here. And you're going to use this letter, this address here. And you're going to, I'm going to give you a piece of lined paper. You're going to write a letter, and then you're going to practice writing the envelope. And that is as far as you're going to get. And then we will finish writing letters next week. Okay? That is the plan. Rubber band. All right. I'll talk to you soon. Bye.